Hi guys, welcome to my channel. I've decided to do a video on the lilac set I created at the weekend because everyone loved them so much. Now here I have used full cover tips. It's important to remember if you're using tips or sculpting to always put the clear layer down first. It'll be much easier then for your infills and your redesigns. Just gonna add the lilac, the Lavender Pearl from CJP on here, keeping it nice and thin towards the cuticle and bringing it out towards the edge. You want to be nice and quick if you're adding more than one bead, as you need it all to set at the same time. Remember, keeping your shape as much as you can with the brush to eliminate any extra filing you need. Now I'm just going to leave that lavender to set for a couple of minutes while you prep your netting to go onto that acrylic. Cut your netting into shape and then apply to the acrylic area. Now you can see here I've tried to add it a little bit too soon, so I've just pulled it away again, waited a few seconds more and then applied it. Now you want to place it across the top of the acrylic and then squeeze your index and your thumb together just to get an imprint in that acrylic there. Leave that to set for a little while and then very carefully remove it. Now you'll see once the acrylic has hardened and cured for a little while, you'll be able to add the white acrylic over the top. Now you want to keep this relatively fluid because you want it to fit and mould into those marks that you've left from the netting. So fill that area there that you'd covered with the netting, pat it down into the holes, engraved areas, whatever you'd like to call it, and then leave that to set. Moving on now to the full glitter middle finger. Now remembering that ordinarily this would be a clear layer down first. So you want the clear layer and then you want to add this. Now this Saucery from CJP is perfect because it's already mixed with the acrylic. So you haven't got to worry about doing any additional stuff. You just do your usual routine as in the acrylic with the glitter across the nail. Remember to keep it nice and thin. Anything with acrylic, anything with glitter in, you need to keep it nice and thin. You don't want a bulky nail at the end of it. Spreading that all the way down to the tip. And if you're anything like me, having a bit of OCD about glitter placement, you're going to get each bit of glitter into place. Once you're happy with that, you can cap it in clear. Remember to keep shape with your brush rather than filing. This will eliminate any extra filing time at the end. You want to refine with your file, not shape. Onto the marble nail now. What I like to do personally is add a little bit of whatever colour you're using in the marble just to the cuticle area. Otherwise it can get a bit messy with marbling right up to that cuticle area. This way it gives you a little bit of leeway for space. Now you want to apply a relatively wet bead of whatever colours you're using. I'm using Lavender Pearl and Snow White. Then you want to twizzle your brush so it's got a fine point to it, and then just basically move the brush around to give you a lovely little marble effect. Do this all the way down the nail using whichever colours you like until you reach to the tip. Remember, you don't want to move the brush around too much, otherwise you'll just end up with a smudge of colours rather than it being clearly a marble colour. Onto the pinky finger now. It's exactly the same as the index finger. Applying the colour, apply the netting, and then you want to add the Snow White. I didn't show it on camera for the index finger, but just here I've just applied the netting into clear acrylic powder. That way when you press it in and you want to remove it from the set acrylic, it's a lot easier to remove. It's important to be careful when you first remove that netting, because you can remove it too early. So I tried to remove it too early, waited a few seconds longer, and then removed it. Now I'm just going to cap that glitter nail in clear, and I believe I capped the marble nail in clear as well. It's important to cap a marbled nail because when you're filing at the end, you don't want to file away that marble effect. This way, when you cap in clear, you're just filing the clear rather than the colour. When you're capping glitter acrylic in clear, when you think you've finished capping it, have a little look all over the nail. If any of the glitter is still shiny, you haven't capped it. So just add a little bit extra of the clear acrylic over the top of that area. Now those two nails are capped, I'm just going to go over the white netted area with my e-file. Just be careful and very gentle with this because it's easy to go too far and then you've removed the netting effect completely. Just keep it gentle, moving it across nice and slowly to see where you're getting to. You'll see the lovely netting effect coming through. same on the little finger with the netting effect. Looks so lovely, and it's such a good feeling when you see that pattern coming through. Yay, success. Now you're going to apply the glitter acrylic to the base of the nail. Remember, keeping it as thin as you can and fading the glitter towards the tip. So you don't want a straight edge finish, you want it faded down. Keeping all those bits of glitter exactly where you want them. Move them around for a little while till you're happy where they are, and then you'll have your end result. You're going to go in and just cap that nail to protect that glitter and the design that you've made within that nail. Remember, this is where you want to get your apex with the clear. Just building it up slowly. Bring it down towards the tip of the nail. Keeping it once again as thin as you can, but enough structure that obviously it will be a strong nail. The more you move the glitter around now, the less the acrylic around now, the less you'll have to file at the end. Once they're all set, you're going to go in and you're going to file these. You're not going to shape them with your file, you're going to refine the shape with the file. The more refining you do, the less time it's going to take. Although some of us do make mistakes sometimes and we do need to give a fingernail or two the extra file. But it's much easier and much quicker if you do all the work with the brush rather than the file. I tend to file the side walls, the free edge, the cuticle area, and then whatever's left. It's important to keep your routine the same on every nail so the shape comes out the same on every nail. Keeping those side walls nice and straight as well. You'll need a nice stiff file for that. Once you're happy with the shape, give them a dust off, including underneath the nails, and then you're ready for the next step. I'm using CJP gripper glue for this. I always like to add crystals to a just filed nail. If you top coat a nail and then try to apply crystals, they tend to move all over the show, so it's a lot easier to do it on a freshly filed nail. Another thing that's important to remember when you're applying crystals, less is more. The less glue you use, the better they stick. Otherwise you spend forever and a day waiting for that glue to dry. My personal preference for crystal placement is the larger crystals in the middle, and then gradually as you move away from the middle section, the crystals get smaller and smaller. I find that looks quite elegant. Now you're going to make sure those bad boys don't come off on your clients or yourself. So you're just going to run a very fine brush with top coat around the edge of the base of the crystals. Never ever paint over the top of the crystals because you don't want to get rid of that cut. The cut of the crystal is what makes it sparkle. So you just want to apply the top coat with the fine brush around the base of the nails. We've all had our hair sticking in crystals in nails. This will stop that from happening. Once you've done that with the crystals, you can go ahead and top coat the rest of the nail with the normal brush. Then following on, top coating the rest of the nails. Then once you've cured them all, just apply the cuticle oil. I like to apply the cuticle oil to my fake hand because it just makes the skin look a little bit more realistic when you're taking photos. But obviously if you're working on a client, you want to use a cuticle oil. There you go, all finished.